Oh my God. I feel like Kelly left her trust in me, and we've had so much technical difficulties.
It's okay. She's still gonna be really proud of us. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think we'll just, finding resources.
Yeah.
Talking to people will offer their time, and then you can decide if it's worth the investment with that person.
Yeah. And I think too, a mindset that that one of my co-founders, Sarah, brought up was, you go through life, especially through, say, like high school, and you always have like a coach or a teacher or a mentor, if you will. You always sort of have that along the way. And then maybe you graduate, you go to college, maybe you just enter the workforce, but whatever it is, suddenly it's just kind of up to you. And like, we're just adulting now. And like, you have all the answers, like good Godspeed, good luck. And
I don't have any of the answers yet.
I have zero of the answers. And I think that understanding that you can almost employ a coach to help you with really important moments in your life, like your livelihood, it's worth the investments. I mean, especially in the Bay Area, you skip 4 dinners?
Totally. Or you skip a DoorDash or something. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of it, but I think this is your one life. This is your way to invest in yourself, and you're more important than other things. So I think it'll pay off, whether it's a career coach, an interview coach, someone helping write your resume.
Right.
There's definitely a lot of resources out there. Wendy mentioned Masterclass has some career conversations that are really good. I know they have a low barrier to entry. But you brought up a really good point about networking, and this was taught to me, and I wanted to get, or shared with me like about a year or so ago. Wanted to get your opinion about it. I was looking at, top 10 companies I aspired to go work at, right?
Yeah.
And a friend of mine was like, network, reach out to people and see what's like there. See what the environment is like, see what the programs are, because you might not like it. Just have a conversation, reach out to people. Most people will give you 10 minutes of your time, but come with a plan. What is your business objective? What's your personal objective in this conversation? And ask questions, because you don't want to get 2 months down the road into the career interview process and realize, hey, you know what, this isn't the right environment for me. But you can go ahead and ask these questions, because a lot of people give 10 minutes of their time in their networking.
Totally. And to get to your point of asking questions, so we actually just built out sort of a prep course for college grads as they enter the workforce and are networking for jobs. There's so much nuance and etiquette that comes with networking that is unknown, right? If nobody tells you, how do you know? And I mean, I remember somebody pulling me aside and saying, hey, if you find that I'm connected to someone on LinkedIn, you need to send me, don't just email me and say like, hey, I want a job at your company. Like, email me and say, hello, I would like this job, and here's a link to the rec. Here is my resume. Here are the top 3 people of who I would welcome a conversation with. And then once you meet those people, to your point, show up prepared, ask them intelligent questions, bring as much value to the table that you can, be very prescriptive in what you're looking for, and then send a thank you note. Like these are things that you have to sort of learn by doing. I remember I learned a lot by tripping over my own feet. And so I think it's important that we sort of socialize from early on to help people set themselves up for success. Like, hey, this is how you're going to make those 10 minutes of someone's time worth it. And by the way, they want to help, but be efficient, right? Like, respect their time and be efficient with it.
Definitely. And I mean, you mentioned that you're setting up, how recent college grads can get into the marketplace. I think it's really important for college grads to realize, don't be afraid to reach out. Like, have those 10-minute conversations. Maybe thank them with a $5 Starbucks coffee cup, thing afterwards. But it goes a long way, because they may not have a role for you at the time, but you're actually leaving a touch point with them later on in life and really connecting. And there's nothing wrong with just saying, hey, I really want to understand what you do, what your career is. Like, I know when I graduated, I had no idea what advertising was.
Totally.
Like, I just happened to fall into it. And I ended up with an amazing first boss who then, parlayed me into my career and was like, you're on the sales side now. You should go to the agency side and get a 360-degree view. And I was like, agencies? What's agencies?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Exactly. Totally. And I think too, there's also all of these studies that come out for women specifically, that women are, you know, a certain percentage more likely, I don't want to speak out of turn, so I don't remember the exact percentage.
Yeah.
But they are more likely to accept jobs sooner than men and for lower pay. And I think that there's an element of like, yeah, just get me a job, like whatever, I don't know anything. And there's almost a lack of like, you know, self-confidence in networking, shopping, understanding what are you even looking for? Because to your point, I fell into advertising too. And thank goodness I stumbled amongst a lot of really intelligent, really successful men and women who took the time to help me grow. Yeah. But if you don't, that's too bad.
Yeah, I know.
It's all about sort of trying to educate the next generation of this industry and helping them know their worth, know their value, and understand like where they might want to learn more, evolve their skill set. To your point, I used to always tell our interns when I was a seller at previous companies, go agency. Like, oh, should I stay here? Should I go agency side? I'm like, you've got to learn. If you're going to call on teams at agencies, you need to know what their day is like. What are their levels of responsibility? Because then you can be a strategic, empathetic seller.
For sure. I mean, I recently had lunch with a soon-to-be college grad. She's going into her senior year, and she's majoring in art history. And she actually was interning at, I'm just going to say it, the Bleacher Report. And I was like, that's phenomenal. Like, you should get out and like, you know, don't be afraid to self-promote on LinkedIn about how great this experience was. And she's like, really? And she's like, yeah, she's like, you don't think that's me bragging? I'm like, no, not at all. Like, go out and do it. You know, there's ways of good self-promotion, and it's good ways of networking. And, you know, you spent time there, and it's great. And you can use your art history degree for other ways within marketing or content marketing or design. And there's so many ways of skill sets that you're acquiring in college that don't feel like you're being pigeonholed into one area.
Right. Because that's a fear.
It's everything.
That's a fear. I had coffee with a recent college grad about a month ago, and it was interesting because she had a lot of inner self-confidence. And so she was really putting herself out there. And that's how I met her. No lie, before this variant rolled out, I was at a bar with my college girlfriends having a beer, which felt great because I have a 2.5-year-old at home and I never get to do that. And these darling college girls were out celebrating their graduation with their moms, which was adorable. And we started chatting with them. This girl got my number because she's looking to get into advertising, texted me the next day at a reasonable hour. I would have slept in. And then, you know, set up coffee, and she was really proactive, but she was telling me about some of her other girlfriends who don't necessarily have the self-confidence or feel very lost and don't know where to start, so they don't do anything. And you can't be afraid of self-promotion, to your point. You just need to find someone to help you nuance it.
Yeah, and also make sure it's the right etiquette, right? Like,
yes.
You know, when you're showing up to interviews, I was telling them, make sure you look presentable, like you'd actually be going not to church on Sunday, but pretty much the similar time.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's really good information. And she's like, do people not show up to interviews, right? I was like, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at what I've seen. I mean, I've even had people bring their moms and have them sit in the lobby, like back when we were not like in non-COVID days, right?
That's right.
So like, there's just etiquette and like learning these things. And also I think at the end of the day, don't be afraid to ask questions, whether it's like at a bar, like, how'd you get into that role? I'm very interested, you know?
Totally. I was so impressed. And I mean, hey, if you want your mom there, just have her sit in the car.
Yeah, exactly. Sit outside, not in the lobby. Because you know, everyone talks to the person that, you know, is the receptionist or the greeter. They all talk, you know, word gets around.
Yes.
Totally. I know that we've been talking and we've had some technical difficulties, but we typically, and I know you have a busy life with running a business, running your household, along with your awesome husband and, you know, your 2-year-old. What, you know, if we had to sum up things and getting into whether you're pivoting, joining the workforce, you know, top 4 things to do as we leave off on this discussion.
Sure. I think the number one thing is mindset. Understand that your life has seasons. And if you are feeling lost, don't shove that down, acknowledge it, and just be open to change. I think that that's number one. Number two, assess like what that change is. Like you say, network with people appropriately, learn, understand. I mean, the grass is always greener. You got to understand what you think you want to do. If you think you know it, go learn about it before you do it.
Learn is that the grass is greener. Yeah.
Yeah. Three, I would say don't be afraid to invest in yourself. There are professionals out there that can make this process easier. It doesn't mean that you're being indulgent. It doesn't mean that you're lazy. It means that there are people whose life's work is to help people in transition. Okay. So don't deny that. And then finally, four's tough.
Okay, well, you don't have to do 4. We can do 3.
Okay, I say 3.
I think also, I think don't be afraid to change and find out, you know, if you're stagnant, maybe this might be the 4th one. If you've been doing the same thing for 7 years and you're like, it's okay, but I'm not excited about it, figure out what excites you, whether it's becoming a trainer or doing something outside of work, because work doesn't have to be exciting, but you want to have some passion about something.
I totally agree. And, I had a thought, it flew out of my mind. I don't know.
Well, Jacqueline, thank you so much for being here today and being part of the TED Talk. I will send Kelly your wishes for her birthday.
Thank you.
It was so good to see you and connect with you.
Good to see you too.
If anyone is looking for Jacqueline's information, where can we find you?
You can find us at thecollectivelyco.com. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook.
Okay, great. And if anyone can't find her, you can always reach me, Susan Edmonds, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and we'll connect
LinkedIn
you
too.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
We're on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, but we'll find you.
Okay. Great. Thanks,
Thank
Jacqueline.
you,
Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.